Are you building the same Flutter application with state management and notifications again and again? You can try this new feature of Firebase that is called Firebase AI Logic. Firebase AI Logic makes it easier to bring powerful generative AI models directly to your client set in a very secure way. Now your app can handle text, images, videos, PDF files, audios to make generative AI applications. Let's be clear, using these generative AI models are costly, and that's why most of them are developed in the backend environment to avoid any unauthorized usage. And that's why in this Firebase app checks plays an important role to block any unauthorized access to your Gemini AI and Vertex AI APIs. Otherwise, you will receive a hefty cloud bill. So Firebase AI Logic provides access to both Gemini AI and Vertex AI APIs. And it's a very common confusion. What's the difference between them? Gemini API provides access to the only Gemini family models like Gemini Pro, Imagen, and Veo. Also, you cannot access or monitor logs of your requests and cannot choose the server region for your audience. Gemini API is best to use when you are experimenting or making MVP for your ideas. You can check all the models available in the Gemini API in the link given in the descriptions. In Vertex API, you can choose any publicly available models like Ollama, Claude, and even you can host your own custom models. Vertex AI lets you to monitor your log requests and is configurable according to the availability and scalability of your project. Vertex AI is preferred to use when you need more control, like which model to use and more scalable project. In Firebase, Gemini API requires no billing and is free to use up to a certain limit. After you cross that threshold, you have to upgrade your Firebase project to the Blaze billing. To use Vertex AI API in the Firebase, you need to upgrade your Firebase project to the Blaze billing, and you will be charged per usage basis. But don't worry, you will not get charged while you are practicing Firebase AI. I hardly get my billing less than $5. So let's start our AI app. So first we need to create a Firebase project. So create a new Firebase project and go to Firebase console and click on the left menu Firebase AI Logic. Okay. Click on Get Started, and this will give you two options, Gemini Developer API and Vertex AI API. For this video we are using Gemini API. Click on Enable this API, and our Gemini API is available to use in Firebase. To enable the Vertex API, go to the Vertex AI Gemini API, click on Enable Required API, and this will ask you to upgrade your Blaze plan. After you added payment details, it will be available to use. In case you are not able to enable both APIs, you can directly go to the Google Cloud Consoles and enable both APIs from there too. Now we need to set up a Firebase configuration in a Flutter project. I have created a new Flutter project. In this, I've already created some basic UI so we can focus on the AI features. First, go to the PubSec.yaml and add these three packages, Firebase AI, Firebase Core, and Flutter.in. Now copy the package name from the Flutter project and go to Firebase consoles and the project settings, add your Android applications here. We were going to use these keys later on. Now go to Flutter projects and create a .env file. In this .env file, copy these keys here. This env file will be used to load Firebase configuration in our Flutter app. So go to the Firebase console and you can copy the project ID from here and copy the Android app ID and iOS app ID as required from here and paste it in your .env file as required. Now to get Android API keys and iOS API keys, go to same Google Cloud Console on the same project, click on AI API Services, Credentials. Check your Android keys and iOS keys created by Firebase and click on Show Key. This will give you an API keys for both. Copy this and paste in your .env files. Also make sure in the PubSec.yaml, add this .env file in the asset section. Now in the lib folder, create a default options.dart file. In this file, default Firebase option will be used to load Firebase configuration in our main functions. You can copy this whole code from the GitHub repo link given below. Now go to main.dart and add these 4 lines. This line will load all the configurations files from the env file, and this will initialize Firebase according to our configurations. We are going to make this kind of chat application where we provided some input and it will generate an output. This will also remember the chat history. So this is our chat UI where there is a text field, and when we're going to press enter, this will submit a text to the Firebase AI. And we have a list view builder which contains a list of chat messages from the user input and the output from the AI. So first we are going to add generation config. It is an optional parameter. It is used to add parameters like temperature, maximum odd tokens, and response mean type. Response mean type, suppose you want output as a text or a JSON type. This is an optional parameters. Next is the model name. Here I am going to use Gemini 2.0 Flash. You can change this to Gemini Pro or Imagen models as required. So here we are going to initialize a generative AI model object to use Firebase AI to generate our responses. Here I am using Google AI, which uses Gemini APIs to generate a response. If you want to use Vertex AI APIs, replace it with the Vertex AI function. By default, it uses Google APIs. In this generative AI model, you can pass the model name and you can change as required. There are other parameters which are optional, like generation configuration that we talked before. Tools are action that to be performed after you receive an output from the LLM. And system instructions. System instructions define the role of the AI app that we are going to use. It is optional right now. Now we are going to declare the chat session variable here and initialize this chat session with the model.startChat. This will maintain and remember the context of our chat history. We can use generate content here also. This will work same, but generate content doesn't remember the previous question or the context we asked in the chat applications. So we are going to use start chat. So when user inputs some text and enter a submit, this message will get passed to the send message to the chat. Send message to the chat triggers a loading UI and adds all the text in the chat UI. So first we are going to pass this user input in the context.text. So what is context class? Context defines the role. That means if user is sending some input, this context is defined as a user role. If we are receiving some output, this context is defined as a user model. There are other kinds of role too, like content functions, context systems. We can discuss this about in other videos. Now we pass this message in the chat session.send message and this will generate our response. We are going to extract this response, generate content response.text and pass it to the chat UI. Now if I send another input in the chat, it will remember the context of the chat history. Here I am sending prompt. I want some changes, add follow action and add some links of the Firebase AI logic documentation. So this we're going to rewrite the post and add some links to it too. And there you go. You just implemented an AI feature in your Flutter mobile application. Now if you're interested in more videos such as image generation, adding tools to the AI, you can subscribe to this channel. I will be publishing more video for Flutter with AI. Thank you for watching.